Hello BookTube, welcome to Lizziefaye Loves Books. I'm Elizabeth, and I'd like to do just a little summer wrap-up with my stats and maybe mention a handful of books that didn't get mentioned in any of my other category wrap-ups and everything. So basically, for this past summer, I had planned to take a bit of a channel break. I did end up doing some book purging videos, but I didn't do regular Friday reads or monthly wrap-ups or and really I don't think I did any monthly TBRs and things like that. So I wanted just to come to you now that summer is over and just talk about the books that I read in the months of June, July, and August. So I don't want to brag or anything, but I might have somehow read 68 books during those 3 months. I really don't know how I did it. I swear I am a slow reader, but I think it's because now that I've got a smartphone, I can speed up audiobooks, and I'm just having so much fun checking books off my list. I was involved in the Summer Romance Book Bingo, which I did a couple videos for. I've also been reading the 15 Sunshine State books. I read 5 of those in May, for middle grade May, and then the other 10 I have read during the rest of the summer. And then I also did a short story project with the books from A.J. Fickery, The Storied Life of A.J. Fickery, and I did a video for that. And then most recently, I did a little video about the mysteries that I've been reading over the summer. And then I did a booktubeathon wrap-up, and in that video, I talked about the books that I read during booktubeathon, which included 2 graphic novels. So about the only books that I haven't yet told you about are some of my nonfiction books and 2 other general fiction, literary fiction books that I read. One of them was because of book club, and I don't know that I've talked about them much except for, well, actually, one of those was was a tome, so I talked about that during Tome Topple. So the 2 readathons I did during the summer were Tome Topple and Booktubeathon, and then I read 6 books for various book clubs, both in real life and online. I did 5 buddy reads, and what else? Well, anyway, let me just go back. I'm getting ahead of myself. So for the month of June, I read 20 books. For July, I read 18. And for August, I read 30. So that averaged 22.6 books per month. And that's pretty close with my average for the year. From January 1st to August 31st, I had read 171 books, which averages 21.375 books per month. And within the 68 books that I read over the summer, 45 of them were audio. So see, a good majority were audiobook. And then that left 23 in print. So then, as far as genres and categories, I didn't divide my middle grade up by genre. I did read a total of 18 middle grade books, and from June, July, and August, 10 of those were Sunshine State books. I read a couple of them twice, and then a few other middle grade books mixed in with those as well. I read 8 YA books. And most of those were books that I could count towards the romance book bingo. But then I read 26 adult romances, so I was able to count, most of those for the book bingo as well. And I read 4 nonfiction books, 5 mysteries, and then in my mystery video that I just did, I went ahead and included a sixth one that I read in September because I wanted just to go ahead and talk about that while it was fresh. Then I mentioned short stories, so there were 13 short stories associated with The Storied Life of A.J. Fickery. Then I read 3 other short stories. One was by my friend Elizabeth Tyree. I had downloaded several of her books when she offered a deal where you could get her books for free on Kindle. And so I read Rosa, A Twisted Fairy Tale, and that was really cute. I enjoyed that. I'm looking forward to reading some more of her books. And then I read a bind-up of 2 short stories called Cruel Crown, I believe. It's part of the Red Queen series, and the 2 stories are Steel Scars and Queen's Song. I believe that's correct. I've already donated that book to the Little Free Library in front of Katie's high school, so I don't even have it to refer to. What else? I have read 4, I had 4 rereads, and 2 graphic novels, 2 that were literary fiction, general fiction, that didn't really fit into the romance or mystery categories. And then I already mentioned my buddy reads and book clubs. So Anyway, that basically leaves me with just a handful of books that I haven't really talked about in the other videos. A couple of these I might have talked about during Booktubeathon, but I'm not absolutely sure. So probably my favorite nonfiction book that I read is called Finding Grace by Donna VanLiere. This is a memoir, and it's just beautiful. She's such a wonderful writer, such a great storyteller. She narrates almost all of her books, and she has a fantastic voice for narration, and I really enjoyed this. I listened to it on audio through Hoopla, and I highly recommend it, especially if you've ever read and enjoyed any of her other books. I think you will enjoy this one. It's very moving and heartbreaking and wonderful. So then the other nonfiction books I read were all on Hoopla on audio. I listened to a couple of organizing books. One was by Sandra Felton. I don't have the actual book in print. She's most known for her Messies manual, but the book I listened to was a reread, and it was called 5 Days to a Clutter-Free House. And it's basically just a 5-day plan for doing a quick clean and getting things straightened up and organized in a fast way. So that was really good. Kind of gave me some extra motivation. Then another one that I read, I don't have in print either, but it was by Sarah May, and we'll tell you about it in just a second. I thought one of my kids needed something, but they're fine. So it was by Sarah May, and it was how to have a Martha home the Mary way. And so it's basically based on Mary and Martha in the Bible, and you're probably familiar with the story. Martha was really intense with the housework and the cooking, and Mary just wanted to sit at the feet of Jesus and learn. So it's a good combination of that. I listened to it on audio, then I went back and started working through it a day at a time. It's a 31-day challenge type of book, but we are in the middle of a home renovation and a home addition, and so I kind of got roadblocked because I couldn't do all of the things it wanted me to do because it just isn't possible with the state my house is in right now. So as soon as all of this is done, I want to go back and revisit that and do that book all the way through. It's really a fantastic book, and it's done in such a gentle way, and I think I used the word gentle homemaking, and I just really enjoyed the book. So I'm looking forward to revisiting that later. It's on Hoopla, both on audio and in ebook. So that's awesome because you really need to be able to see it in print to kind of go through the challenges. It's good. In fact, it even recommends in the beginning that you go through the whole book once and then you go back and see what work through each challenge. Then the last nonfiction book was a little bit misleading. According to the Goodreads entry and also on Hoopla, it says it's by Dale Carnegie, but it's actually done by some other kind of media group. I can't even remember the name now. And they took some Dale Carnegie principles and put it together and kind of expanded on it. So the book was called Steps for a More Fulfilling Life, and if you look it up, it says it's by Dale Carnegie, and it does include his principles. It's just not a book that he wrote in that exact form. And I believe it's only on audio. It might be an ebook. I'm not sure. But anyway, it was good. Anything that's motivational like that, I enjoy, and it's good to listen to. It sort of just gets you going and gets you pumped up and makes you want to be a better person. It makes you want to accomplish something, and I like and enjoy. That's the same thing, like and enjoy. I do enjoy books like that. Let's see. Then the two fiction books that I don't know if I talked about anywhere else. Well, actually, I did one of them. One of them was a tome, so I would have mentioned it during Tome Topple, but I'll just briefly mention it here. And then you can go back and look at my Tome Topple video. It was Beneath a Scarlet Sky by Mark Sullivan. This is a historical fiction set in World War II period, and it's set in Italy. And you don't hear a lot about what happened in Italy in World War II. Really, it hasn't been written about that much. But it's based on a real person, and it's just a fantastic book. I really enjoyed it. Probably one of my favorite books so far for this year. And then another book I read was a book in the Thrush Green series. I don't have it. It is News at Thrush Green and Winter and Thrush Green. I don't know. It was a Thrush Green book. I'll put the title down below. I get them all mixed up because they all have, pretty much most all of them have Thrush Green in the title. I don't own it yet, but I did listen to it on audio. My library had it on CD. I think it was Winter at Thrush Green. So now the next book I need to read is News at Thrush Green. And I just got a copy of it this summer at a library book sale. So anyway, I had hoped to read along with the Miss Read Along group that's on Instagram, but I'm so behind. I will still read all these books, but I'm probably not ever going to get caught up by the time they get finished. And I've been following them on Instagram and watching and seeing what books they're on and just wishing that I was caught up, but I'm not. Okay, so what else do I need to talk about in this video? I think I may have covered everything. I had a great summer. Instead of doing my regular Friday reads and monthly wrap-ups and all of that, I did do some book purge videos. So if you didn't check out those, then of course feel free to go back and take a look at those. But I've been just kind of doing my wrap-ups by category. And so this was just to kind of sum everything up. And hopefully by this point I have already posted my reading plans for the fall. Now, I did post a video about all the read-alongs that I am doing and starting this fall on my Goodreads group, and so a lot of my reading is involved in those, but of course I have a lot of other things to read too for book clubs and just my 20 by 20 challenges and things like that. So lots going on here at Lizziefaye Loves Books, and that's all I have for this video. I hope you are having a great day. Read a good book, and God bless you.